How you doing?
Good. How's Brad doing?
He looked fine. I think it was just a knock knees, a little discomfort. He was not a full participant today. It was just more stayed away from the live stuff, but he did all the script, got up and down. He was moving well, did the shooting. So I don't think it's anything significant. I think they're just being cautious right now. I don't see any lingering effects.
Was everybody else a full participant?
Thomas was able to do some of the non-contact, but beside that, yes.
Is Rui here by chance?
He's in town. He's out of the protocol at this point and able to do individual workouts. So we're transitioning him to that phase.
And what are kind of your points of emphasis as you leave the preseason behind and go into this opener now that you've processed these 4 games and seen these guys play?
The biggest thing is carryover. And it's something I've reiterated a number of times. I think we've gotten better over those 4 preseason games. By no means perfect, but we had some good stretches. That last game against New York, we played in the bulk of 3.5 quarters at a high level. So we have a lot to build upon. But I was really pleased with how we finished the preseason, and hopefully that will springboard us into the regular season.
And we're going to talk to Corey today. Just wanted to get your thoughts on the shot that he made and kind of calling his number in that one.
Well, it's great. I mean, I think he's been put in that spot in different situations, obviously high school and college, but to do that, on the NBA stage, obviously, 13,000 people in New York, it's got to be a good feeling. I felt comfortable. I mean, he's a shot maker. He's made those plays in practice, and it was good to see him, have success in that moment. He was able to maintain his poise and knock down a big shot for us.
And I think it was in the game before that he had a catch and go where it finished through some contact at the rim. What do you think about that element of this game? I know we've talked to you about cutting, just as maybe catch and goes and his ability to finish it through.
It's something he's worked on. The finishing versus verticality is somewhat new in the NBA, coming from the collegiate level, where sometimes those might be fouls. Right now, that's a legal defensive play. So being able to finish through contact, finish over verticality, over length, that's just going to add to his effectiveness. Once he gets more and more comfortable putting the ball down, changing directions, maybe playing a little bit of second side pick and roll, but being able to go and catch, it's a tough play to guard, especially when you're closing out to a guy with a live bounce and a guy who can stretch the defense. So your teams are going to run at him. So you try to force him inside the 3-point line. His ability to do that, I think, is going to be great for us.
Hey, Coach, at this point, do you feel like the offense is ahead of the defense or vice versa? Do you see it that way at all?
I think it kind of depends on the stretch of the game. Sometimes the defense was better. Overall, I would say the offense is taking a step in our ability to generate the right shots. Our 0.5 mentality, our spacing has been better. The organization overall, obviously, we still have to kind of calm down when teams pressure us, take us out of our offense a bit. A lot of that's just owning our spots, be more physical, creating leads to catch where we want to catch, and don't fight pressure with pressure. Cut, give yourself up. I think when you do that, it opens up things on the backside.
What did you think of the 3-point shooting throughout the preseason?
Well, again, we created the right ones. I don't think we made enough shots for the number of shooters that we have. So I'm not concerned with that necessarily. I think those shots will fall if we continue to generate the right shots. I think it's just a matter of guys getting their legs under them, slowing themselves down a little bit. But, if those are open shots within the rhythm of an offense, I still want those guys to shoot it.
All right, Coach, let's switch over to Zoom. We're going to start with Ava.
Hey, Wes. Wondering which kind of parts you mentioned that the big lesson you took from the last preseason game was playing with poise and kind of staying composed down the stretch. Which stretches of film do you pull out to show the guys? Is it, do you focus on the turnovers or what do you kind of highlight for them from that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? The volume wasn't up in here.
Sure. So you talked about at the end of the last preseason game, the big lesson taking away was remaining composed and staying poised down the stretch. What film sections, I guess, do you highlight for that? Do you show the turnovers? What do you kind of pull out to get that lesson across?
Well, we didn't show it today. I think we'll show it at some point before we start the regular season. But almost doing a compilation, because we've had stretches throughout the preseason. It just wasn't that game against New York. Toronto put us under duress a little bit. New York, obviously, in the first matchup. So there is a bit of a theme there, but also it's something we can learn from. I'm not putting it squarely on that, that group that finished the game the other night, because it's been all of us at some point. So it's certainly something we can glean from, but I don't want to overreact to it as well. I'm glad we can learn from it now and hopefully not repeat those, as we kind of get into games that count.
And I know you've stressed the need for patience and kind of being diligent with this group, but through the 4 preseason games, was there any other way you felt like you had to adjust your approach based on what you learned about this group?
I think sometimes you have to push and demand more. And it's not just, in the game. We've had instances in practice where, hey, we're not doing it well enough. At the times we talked about carryover. Only thing we've carried over at times has been bad habits. So I think it's just more let's lock in. Let's make sure we're really getting what we need to get out of each drill, not just get through it.
Thanks, Wes.
Christos.
Hello, Coach. How are you? My question is about Mike Batiste, one of your new assistant coaches in the team. I would like to ask, what did you see from him about his job in Orlando Magic, and how important will going to be his job about the growth of your big man this season?
Well, he's obviously charged with working with our bigs quite often, but working with everybody. And I think his ability to still get on the floor, be impactful in practice, be a live body, whether it's offensively, defensively, gives our guys a real feel. Mike's international experience as well, beyond NBA. So it's a number of things, but once again, he's a guy who can get on the floor. And I think you put in that sweat equity, you can really get the best out of guys.
And also, what makes your relationship with Mike Batiste special, or something like that about this season, and how important is to have coaches with knowledge and with familiarity about basketball?
It's huge. I think it goes back to the relationship component as well. It's one thing to be able to teach it, but he's lived it. So there's that commonality as a former player, not just in the NBA, but once again, playing throughout Europe and had a long career. He's gone through all the bumps and bruises, the ups and downs, and I think that helps steady, especially some of our young players. I think his influence, his wisdom, and some of his experiences could be imparted on those guys where, for me, it's a coach-player relationship. I think his dynamics is a little different.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time.
As you look ahead to your NBA debut, just kind of what's going through your mind?
Oh, I'm really excited. I'm really fortunate to have a couple, test runs under our belt. Kind of see how the rhythm of the game goes, and kind of my role from game to game. And also, I've never been to Toronto before, so I'm really excited to get up there and get the season started off on the right foot.
Speaking of test runs, you got a pretty good one last game with the game tying shot.
Mm-hmm.
What did it mean? I know it's a preseason, but what did it mean to get your number called in that moment?
I felt great. I mean, I knew I had a chance when Coach drew up the play, and it was designed really well, and just wanted to make sure I gave it enough. I was fading away, so Aaron made a great pass and it went in, and I'm really happy to give ourselves a chance down the stretch like that.
How would you describe your celebration after that?
To be honest, I don't even remember what I did. It just kind of happened. Didn't want to go too crazy because it was a preseason game, but really excited to put that one in.
And I know you described Anthony Gill and his work ethic, but he said that he was doing kind of an extra conditioning drill, and you came up and asked him to be involved. Just kind of why did you do that, and what else have you been trying to kind of go the extra mile?
Yeah, just I walked into the gym and I wanted to make sure. Well, I just want to take notes about who's doing what, and I wanted to attach myself to the hardest worker in the room, and AG is at the top of that list. With a bunch of other guys out here, so And just the way I play too. I'm a high energy guy. I run around a lot, cover a lot of ground during games. And I need to be in really good shape in order to be on the floor. So I figured AG was the right man to talk to. And of course, in AG fashion, he's like, yeah, sure. He pulls up a bike and we start, pedaling together. And, I'm really thankful for him to kind of let me in on that with him.
And we just heard from Coach that Rui has cleared protocol and is going to be joining you guys very, very soon. Just someone who knows him pretty well. What was that?
No, I'm really excited, man. I miss that guy. I'm excited to have him back in the facility. Excited to play with him. Excited to be in the locker room with him. And the fact that he's ready to go and he's going to join us again soon is awesome. Can't wait to have him back. And he's only going to help on what we're doing going forward.
And last one from me. 2 games ago, you had the catch and go where you were able to finish at the rim through some contact. How would you kind of describe that part of your game? Is it something that you've been working on and trying to work in?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a work in progress over the last couple of years. But anybody who's watched college basketball last year knows that's part of my game. It's no secret, and that's the counter to my 3-point shot. And just being able to do that at the next level is probably the next step. I can do it just fine, but being able to put on the floor and make plays at this level is kind of the next step for me. And I'm glad that, I got to showcase that a little bit and keep defenses on their heels a little bit more.
Hey, Corey, I'm just wondering, what have your rookie duties consisted of so far?
Nothing crazy, nothing too bad yet. I mean, I've sung happy birthday a handful of times in front of everyone, picked up snacks, gotten towels, just little things here and there, ran errands for guys at the hotel. Nothing crazy. And, I'm here to serve. So, I'm ready to go, whatever happens next.
Did you have to sing twice for Isaiah and Anthony?
So yeah, AG is not a big birthday guy. He doesn't like the attention, so he didn't want his happy birthday sung to him today, which I got let off the hook. And then apparently there's a rule that rookies don't sing to rookies, so off the hook today.
All right, Corey, let's transition over to Zoom. Let's start with Ava.
Hey, Corey. One thing Wes has kind of stressed with us is that he has made sure he doesn't want to overwhelm anybody on the team with all the new schemes and terminology. He wants to be kind of make sure that you guys can master one thing before moving on to the next. As a rookie, how has that process been for you? Just kind of absorbing all of the information that's been thrown. Have you learned a lot about your game, or do you feel like, I feel like I have the room to take one thing at a time here?
Yeah, well, it's really nice because I fit in great to what Coach wants to do. He does move quick, and it's partly because we have a lot of things to do, and it's put in a whole system. But it's asking questions, when you're sitting on the sideline. So when you get in the game, you don't mess things up. And then Summer League was a big help for me too. We kind of had a baseline framework of what he wanted to do during the season for us in Summer League, and so it was kind of hitting the ground running for me, and it was a little bit more of a refresher rather than a brand new thing.
And he also said something that he's been really diligent about asking you guys to push when he's not seeing either, enough effort or locking in or whatever that may be in practice. For you, obviously, without knowing, if he's like singling you out and being like, Corey, come on, man. What does that kind of mean for you? Do you take that as the team needs to be working harder, or just like people need to lock in a little bit more? Can you kind of shed some light on that?
Yeah, it's more of a mental thing. It's been a physical thing. We know we have 82 games ahead of us, and going harder during practice isn't necessarily going to make the difference between us winning a certain amount of games or another amount. But it's all about locking it up here. I think that's what he means the most. As soon as he starts to feel the energy slip or the focus slip, that's when he gets on us, rather than the clip that we're running things at.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Chris?
Hey, Corey, as a fan of your TikToks, could you please give me the thought process of your posting, and is it just something top of mind? How do you go about creating that kind of content?
Still a work in progress, and my aesthetic is still kind of narrowing down. I'm still trying to figure out my niche in TikTok, but it's basically just whenever I feel like I haven't posted in a while, I just kind of come up with that idea and throw something up, just enough to keep my presence on there. Yeah, man, that app is dangerous. Like a couple hours go by really fast on TikTok.
The one you posted about your betting and like your mom setting up your stuff. Do you get any kind of responses on there? I think that was one where you were in your house and you were like showing all your stuff. Do fans comment on that, and what's some of their reactions to it?
You know, to be honest, I haven't really looked. Like, I don't really scroll through the comments much once I post a video or post a picture or something. I'm hoping people like what my mom chose. She has a really good eye, and and I think it looks great. So people can say whatever they want, but I'm happy in my own home, and I think that's what matters the most.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Christos.
Hey, Corey, hope you're doing well. How many steps forward do you feel that you made in this training camp? And what is your main goal and your main expectation about your role in this season?
Yeah, I think I made some really big strides, especially from summer league to now. I feel much more confident. I feel much more settled. The game feels slower. And I know it's being asked of me, and during the season, my role could change from week to week or month to month. But, it's for now, it's being ready whenever my name is called, and to come in and not skip a beat. I need to be locked in and ready to go on the bench at all times. And so when my name does get called, my number gets called, like it did a couple nights ago, I got to be ready to go at the drop of a hat. So it's a challenging job. It's a little bit different, but it's something that I'm getting better and better at every day.
Thank you.
All right, we'll do the last question to Takeshi.
Oh, hello, Corey. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, thank you for your time. My name is Takeshi Shibata, and I'm calling from Tokyo, Japan. So I know you are a very good friend of our own Rui Hachimura. So have you learned anything about our country, Japanese culture, or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I learned a little bit. I wouldn't say I know much, but I learned a little bit during my time at Gonzaga with Rui. I feel like that's when I learned about it the most. And obviously, with how much Japan follows our team because of him, I plan on learning a lot more. So I know it's a beautiful country and a beautiful people, and I can't wait to learn more about it.
Okay, thank you so much. ありがとうございました。
All right, Corey, thank you for your time.